am Sivarama Prasad, visiting faculty to IARE at TIIC. Today, we would like to see some of the needs of the standards while doing fabrication or product development. Why at all there should be standards? Is there a need? And what are some relevant? It is not that we are going to become experts, but at least we should have some knowledge of it. If you go back to our original life, our life started with nature. That time it is all with the forest, animals, agricultural, village and all. See there is nothing called big rules or laws or anything. It is just a natural law. That is, as you like you can live, and only the survival will be only for the fittest. As long as you are fit, you will survive. Otherwise, just okay. Or sometimes you have to fight for your survival. That's all. There is no big thing about it. Then came the agricultural. When agricultural and villages, everything has come, what happened is, we were all revolving around the nature only. But there was very limited population, a lot of uncertainties of nature. So, what you have done is, you have taken the help of knowledgeable people, some saints or scholars or well-wishers, village heads. Whatever they say, we used to run like that. At that time, there was more of a self-discipline, harmony, joy, leisure, everything was there. So there is no need people found for anything to see. Then came the industrialization. With industrialization, what happened is, life has moved from villages to urban cities. And people started education and they gone into choices, technology, and a lot of man-made items have come. Transport has become very easy. Communications have become very easy. So, it is like something like a freedom which you can live as you like. And as you like means, it doesn't mean that you can live whatever way you want. Because we have come to a society. So, society needs some rules or some organized ways. There are some manners, some etiquettes, and some organized ways. So, what happened is, law and order has come. With law, rules, systems, governing bodies, governments, all these things have come. All these are mainly for ensuring good practices only. And so that when 100 people are living, you need some minimum common agreed programs. Otherwise, what happens is, it becomes havoc. You cannot live peacefully. So, everybody has to live peacefully means, like in our independent house or a flat, the life is different. So, in the same way, what happened is, the products also have taken different stages. Earlier, it was only agriculture products. People know about it. And it is that no transactions. It is all just a barter system, exchange. That's all. With industrialization, the manufacturer or seller, he has more knowledge. He is driving the product. So what happened is, the buyer has no knowledge. It has got only a limited knowledge about the product. So he started educating it. And when you are educating, you will know only thing. So the natural responsibility lies on the seller. That means he has to protect you. And he should offer a good product. And the service, whatever he is offering, it should not be harmful to the people. So the responsibility and accountability was there on the industry. And over a period, a lot of technologies have come, a lot of practices have come. So, in long run, what happens is, when there are so many good things, some amount of bad also step in. And if you are not checking it properly, what happens is that the bad becomes big and society becomes not for the people. It goes for a different game. So, what happened is, the government and the people and also the industry, they took the responsibility, because when they have produced, it is their responsibility to see that it is happily being served. So they jointly formed some government bodies, started some standards and they created systems so that they involved all the people, related people like industry, academy, experts, users, and they formed some sort of a common agreed programs through which we will give certification, through which we will do auditing, and we will monitor it. Then it goes on so that you can maintain it and sustain it for a long life. So with mass production and all, the continuity has come so that anybody can produce, but it should be within this standard. Then once the standard is there, it is giving an assurance to the people. Yes, if it is this standard, you can take it good. It is good. And when you are using it, you will also live happily. There is no fear of what is that, what product is that. So with that idea, ISO, that means an international organization, is started. So once it started, there will be a lot of terms like law, regulation, rule, code, standard, statutory, like that. These are all the words which are being continuously coming in all the books, or whenever you go through an agreement, whenever you go through a memorandum of understanding, or whenever you start a company, or whenever you start making a product, when you go for license, all these terms you will see. It is not that we are going to become expert in this, but at least we should know what are the differences, where you have to be careful, where you can take it easy, what we have to do, if specifically if they mention this. So if you say mandatory, it is a binding. Mandatory and compulsory. Compulsory means it is essential. That means you have to do that. Whereas obligatory, if you say, there is no legal, but it is a social binding. And mandatory means the doer, he has got the responsibility to make it good. So all these terms, whenever you find, you have to look more detailedly or more deep into the subject. Suppose if you write, the component is, it is mandatory to apply this law. That means it is a binding. You have to do it. Whereas sometimes they say compulsory. That means it is told as an advice. It is compulsory. That means it is essential, you have to do it. Whereas if it is told as obligatory, it is something like I wish you. Then it is obligatory that you have to wish me. Otherwise, it doesn't give good sense. Like that you have to. And there are some laws and regulations. These laws, they are directly referred to standards. That means you have to comply with that. It is a compulsory. Once there is a law, it is a compulsory, it is mandatory, everything. That means you have to do it. Same way, regulations. These are also accepted. And regulation means it will go one step higher into legal also. That means if you are not following, you are bound to get a legal case also. And same way, rules. Rules are just a set which are given. It is something like I am influencing my authority on you. That means if I put a rule, that means my intention is that you have to follow that. So in this way, when there are regulatory means, that is why in all the product developments, if there is anywhere it is regulatory, then you have to be very careful. That means it is a legal binding. And the standards, what happened is, with all these things, standards have come. Standards is governed by an organization where you have to follow. It is a set of guidelines and some practices. It is designed by experts and users, and it will work as a rule, as a guideline, and some definitions. That means if you follow the standards, you will get good things. Statutory means, as is told earlier, it is a law. That means you have to follow it. Code, specifications, these are all general words. And mostly we will be using in the product development way, standards and specifications. Standards are guidelines for making that product or for following the process or for doing that. And the specifications relate to you write it with reference to the product. And whenever there is a regulatory, mandatory, cautionary, all these things, you have to follow it specifically separately. So these organizations of standardization, it has given a lot of guidelines. It has selected different sectors because all the rules, all the companies, all the sectors, it will not be common. So differently, there is major core engineering, non-engineering, engineering, general engineering. Like that, there are different industries for which different ways of regulations are there, different standards are there. Major core engineering it is like a very big one: oil, gas, mines, power, pharma. These things, anyway, it is a very big one. We need not. Generally, we come across with general engineering. General engineering means appliances, automotive, aerospace, shipbuilding, where there are more and more of activities going on which related to the public. Whereas if you see oil or gas or minerals, it is done at a different place. General public will not come in contact with that. So automotive and appliances, these are the two things which we regularly in touch. For that, there are two things. One is on quality, technical, then on manufacturing. See, quality and technical, why it has come is, quality is the one which a customer is interested. And technical means the manufacturer is interested because to meet this quality, he has to maintain that. That is a process, that is an engineering, he has to do it. So, what is expected out of it and how we are going to do it. These two are quality and technical. If you go to automotive, ISO 9000 is one thing which is very famously known outside the world. It was introduced in 1980s. That time, it was mainly for giving a quality and giving an assurance to the customer that the manufacturer has got that grip of the subject. He can solve the problem. He can go to the root and solve it. And he will offer a solution which is reliable. And it is giving an assurance for the people, whoever is using that standard, that this company is a good company which has got this. If you see in 1990s or before 2000, from India there used to be only one company which has got ISO 9000, that is in 90s. That time it was a big celebration because getting that certification is a great thing. But companies, it is an optional. You can go for it or you need not go for it. It is something like, I will be doing a scooter mechanism either as an engineer or I will just learn it by normal means and I will do it. But if it is a certification, it is an assurance to all others that yes, this company is a good one. It is a certificate. And this, then what happened is ISO 9000, QS 9000, that was the famous one which was given. This is formed by the big three. Actually, Ford, GM, Chrysler. They are the major big three automotive players who were controlling the entire world's automotive production. They develop it, they do R&D, they do all those things. And when we are doing it, as a car manufacturer, you will be interested in doing the car or a four-wheeler or an automotive. That means how you can give good facility or good service to the customer. For doing that, in a car, there will be thousands of parts and a lot of technologies, a lot of processes. Everything they cannot do it. So what they do, they want to offload it or develop some other suppliers. When someone else is doing, there is always a doubt whether he will do it as per your standard or as good as you are doing it. So the standard certification is an assurance. Suppose a supplier has got this, then these people, they can easily go to him because it is an assurance that they do good. So with that, this QS 9000 has become very popular. Whenever you want to be a supplier to Ford or GM or Chrysler or Daimler or any of these automobile companies, this certification is a must. So your company, you will create all the processes in a standard way and train the people to do a good job and give service as required by the customer. So with this, the approach is formalized. So what happened is, when the process is good, product will be good. That is the concept. So controlling, improving, and all those things have come into the process. It was there in practice for about almost up to 95, 90, like that. Slowly, TS 16949 has come. See, what happens is, as you're becoming the process, what happens is, it gets level up every day. See, today, when we are in first standard, writing 1 plus 1 equal to 2, 1 into 1 equal to 1, that itself is a difficult one. But when you come to fifth standard, that 1 into 1, you forget about it. You will write 20 into 40. See, that means a level upgrading. So these standards are also, one by one, they are upgraded. So in 16949, it is completely a process approach. And statistical methods, there are a lot of use was there. Because you have already understood what is the process, you are doing it correctly. So there is upgradation and continuous improvements. These are all the things which have come into the picture. Then today, the TS also has gone back. Now IATF they call, that is International Automotive Task Force. They created, that means all these standards, upgraded. Now the requirement is, earlier you were looking at customer needs and improve the process and do it a good product. Now what you are doing is, customer, whenever he is expressing, there will be some general requirements and there are some special requirements. And when you are improving also, sometimes you will improve it in a minor way, but that minor way will not be sufficient. So some breakthroughs, and there should be continuous improvement. That means every day there should be an improvement. It is not that I have improved yesterday and I will keep quiet today. It is not like that. You have to improve continuously. And whenever there is a product is made, you can make it with less input and more output, or you can take a lot of inputs and give small output. That means in between input and output, there will be a lot of wastage. You have to reduce that wastage. At the same time, when you are doing mass production, there will be a lot of variation from the first product to the last product. The variation should be reduced. And at the same time, I will make 100 numbers and 2 numbers can be rejected. It is not the case. See, when you are at the beginning, it is okay. But now you have become a matured. So you are in the field for the last 20, 30 years. So you should have become expert. So whatever you are doing, it should be perfect. That means zero defect. So all these things have come into the picture for this present one. So now if you are making, I am very good in PS 9000 means, it is like I passed the 10th standard. Nobody will give value. You should become an engineer. When you are talking about engineering field, if you say I passed 10th class and I am a gold medalist there, it's okay. They just tell. But what about next? That is why IATF and all, they have come as an improvement. And today's world requires whatever you are doing, it should be perfect. Whatever you are doing, there should be zero variance. Whatever you are doing, there should be no wastage. Whatever you are giving, it should specifically touch my heart. That is why the systems and products making, it has gone step ahead. Similarly, if you go specific to aerospace, there is a different standard. That is AS 9000. See, aerospace, it has got different standards. Why? Because the safety elements and the zero defect and the sustaining of that performance, they are much more stronger. So these standards are very strong. And unless you are certified, you cannot supply a component. Whereas in the automobile, it is not the case. It is required and it is preferred to be certified. Even if there is no certification, if you want to supply, you should follow their standards and do it. But in aerospace, Without AS certification, you cannot supply. No manufacturer will take your product. So this is a different certification. It is much vigorous and also much strict. And here the main thing is you should have traceability back to years and back to the raw material, back to the mines and all. Even a small defect if you find, you have to go to the root, almost like a oldest raw material, the day you bought it, where from that mine has come, where he produced, like that. Whereas in automobile and all, you need traceability, but to a limited extent. A 1 year product or a 2 year product, or to the extent of raw material, or to the extent of process, who has done it, when it is done, what is the product date, what is the manufacturing date, like that. So each standard, it has got its own relevance. And these two are on the quality and the technical. Then the next one is safety, health and environment. That means when you are making, if an industry comes to a village, it is not only producing product, it is also polluting the environment. And it is also giving trouble to the local health. And it is also giving trouble to the local safety. So, safety, health and environment, some standards are there, which are controlled by ISO 14000 and ISO 18000. What it specifically tells is, initially it was developed with a mind to protect the environment. That means you can have your own industry, you can do anything as per the quality standards, and you can give the product, but you should not pollute the environment around you. So what happened? Whatever is coming out of your factory, it should not produce. Then you should comply with some standards whenever you want to produce. And next one is, don't produce any pollutant also. That means you have to select a process by which you don't produce the pollutant. That is why in the product development it has come design for environment. That means you are selecting the process itself not to bring any pollutant. It is not that after polluting I will control it. So the environment, it has come into the picture. Then what happened is occupational health and safety. That means you are not polluting the environment is okay. Whatever the inside the factory also, there can be some pollution. There can be safety issue. There can be health issue. Suppose, for example, you are working in a atmosphere where a nuclear or a pharma or a chemical, the gases is generated, it may be harmful to the people. So, ISO 18000, it looks at safety of the individual who is working at the place. So, you have to reduce the risk hazard at the workplace, and then you should not pollute the external to this one, and you should produce the product in a good way, and you should serve the purpose well. So, all these standards, they cover with that idea. So, whenever you are doing a product development, you should consider all these standards also. Otherwise, whatever you are producing, it may not be a good one from the point of view of the society. It may be good temporarily for monetary, or temporarily for business, or temporarily for a man. But in the long run, it will spoil the society. And when it is spoiling the society, you are doing injustice first. And you are not supposed to do that. We have not learned education, we have not learned the skills to spoil the community. We have learned it to make their lives better. So what happens is, up to this it is the manufacturing. Then come, you have developed, it is your great idea. Someone should not copy it. See, you have worked hard day and night and found one Indian invention. Suppose it is copied by someone else. It is not a right way. So, there are some standards which will protect your intellectual property. That is how IPR is called. IPR means it will protect you. That means if at all you have innovated anything, invented anything, you will have the exclusive right. And nobody can copy it. Suppose if anybody wants to copy it, they have to take your consent. So there is a protection for the inventor. And the inventor also gets benefited because he invented, he may not be able to make the product. So what he has to do, he will give permit or he will give license to others so that the other person will make it and he will benefit it from that to the community and also his wealth. That is why intellectual properties. So mostly outside the world, it is called an IPR. That means intellectual property rights. So this is more related with R&D or these pharmaceutical companies where they'll be doing a lot of products, inventing and all. In a manufacturing side, what happens is, it is a process. It is not very, you will not see that properly. You will not it is not visible in the manufacturing side, but in R&D, it is very visible. You have to go for this. Then comes, everything is being done. How about factory law, administration? That means, once a factory is there, the facilities will be there. Different companies will have different facilities, different working times, different conditions. And some companies, there will be good working conditions. Some there will be bad working conditions. So there has to be a law which will at least streamline and also protect the conditions for the people who are operating that and also for the people who are working in that. That means in a chemical industry, suppose you are not given any protective equipment, your body is going to get spoiled and your health gets spoiled. You may be good in ISO 9000, 10,000, 14,000, 18,000. But if you are not taking man properly, his life, he will be there 1 year. After second year, he may not be able to do next job. That means his life is becoming a problem. So to protect the workmen and all, factory law, labor law has come. That means between the workmen and the employer, there are some rights and there are some guidelines. It tells about working conditions, wages, rules you have to follow, and whenever there are some union issues, how you have to solve it. So with these, what happened is, it covers the entire standards. Once, if a small word like product development, on a technical side, it is taking the customer need and converting that into a design, then converting it into a product and serving it. But while doing this, if he is not following the standards, he will not be doing the correct service. He may be giving a sugar-coated service. That means the top will be sugar, but when you consume it, it becomes bad. So, a society and industry, people, everyone put together, these standards have to be followed. Whatever you have seen this in this half an hour, it is not that you are going to be an expert, but you should know before going into a game or before making a chess game or cricket or football or anything, first you should know what are the rules of the game. So when you are going to enter into product development or fabrication, you should know which are the boundary conditions, limitations, and what are all the things you have to follow. Otherwise, you will be playing something which is not the right way of playing the game. So when you want to enter the game, you should know the rules. This is one such. As an engineer, before entering into the field of manufacturing or development and all, you should know also. It is not that you should become a lawyer in that. No, you should at least have knowledge. Especially if you are going to do memorandum of our understanding or non-disclosure or some agreements or something starting new, you have to be very careful. Because if it is already a running product, it may be different. But if you are starting new or when you are closing sign-offs, you should know at least read that agreement and understand the terms like what I told, mandatory, regulatory, obligatory, compulsory. The meaning of that, it will pull you into either a problem or it may take you out of that problem also sometimes. So, it is very important. You should know the standards before making any product. And generally, don't think that by following a rule, you are weak and why I should follow like that. Rules and standards, they are all meant for us. That means it is for us to protect that, and it is for us to respect that. And if we follow, everybody will be happy. There is no one big, one small. It is all a sharing. So when you are living in a shared society, you have to agree for some common points. Sometimes you may be benefited, sometimes you may be losing, but still, overall, you will be having a peaceful life. It is all for the peace. So you just have a look of the relevant conditions, relevant standards while doing the fabrication or model development or product development, all these things. Okay, thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.